Hey guys, welcome back to our channel Glitched Velocity. I'm your host Wazahat, and today in this video, I'm gonna show you how to generate 2D patterns for your pickup items in Coppercube 3D game engine. So as you can see, I have these two files on my desktop, 𝙎𝙪𝙪𝙙𝙪 and �ascii_art.exe file. And we are going to use this tool to convert our image into a text art that we are going to use as a pattern for our game or to place the items in the arrangement of according to that pattern. So let me just open this 𝙎𝙪𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙝 file, maximize it and change the left view. As you can see, there is nothing fancy in here. We have some plane meshes like plane mesh 1 and plane mesh 2. And we have our protagonist Barry with some animation like walk, fall, jump. And it has some behaviors attached to it like 2D platformer controller and 2D bullets, which will shoot the bullets in the downward direction and give the player an upward thrust. And then the main behavior that I'm going to showcase for this video is 2D item pickups placement. And this is going to be the behavior that will generate the pattern for our pickup items. As you can see, we have some properties here. Item node is going to be the 𝙯𝙪𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙪𝙗𝙪. And then we have some common parameters for the 2D behaviors like Z forward and X forward. Then we have vertical spacing and horizontal spacing. Then we have pattern overlay and we have to supply an overlay here. Then we have this option without zero, and we will be going through all these properties in a moment. First of all, I'm gonna show how this looks in the gameplay. So what we are going to do in this behavior or in this video is, if you have played the original game, then you have noticed something like that there are some patterned pickup items, like in the heart shape, you can pick up the coins, the down arrow and up arrow, some name form. We are going to achieve the same result in our game, right? So if I test the application as Windows, we have a pattern in the name Wazahat. You can collect the coins. It is going to be an endless runner because we have some proximity sensor that will simply, you know, replace the position of the plane mesh ahead to the plane mesh 2 whenever it comes with the proximity with the player. So now let's come to the behavior part. First, we have to supply the item node that we are going to use for our behaviors. I go to this 𝙯𝙪𝙪𝙧𝙘 right now invisible. Let me just make it visible so that it properly. So you can see I have this one coin here, which is 𝙯𝙪𝙪𝙧𝙘, and it is going to be cloned during runtime so that we can generate much more coins for the pattern. There is no other coin in the scene graph explorer and scene viewports. Everything is going to be done in the runtime. So you have to supply the pickup items that you are going to use. And I have this behavior proximity behavior attached to this, pickup item, so that whenever player comes in the proximity, it will give a high score or the coins will be increased, and animate a texture so that it will blinking with the effect that you see on the screen. And then we have X forward and Z forward. This is common parameters. If you have used some of my other 2D extensions, then you know how to use them. So basically, what it does is, whenever you create 2D games, you create in two formats, either in the Z forward direction or in the X forward direction. So whenever your Z axis is pointing towards the right of the screen, then you are using the Z forward environment. My Z axis is pointing towards the right of the screen. So I'm using the Z forward, and I have checked this Z forward here. And if you are using the X forward, that is your X axis is pointing towards the right of the screen, then you have to use X forward. Then we have vertical spacing and the horizontal spacing. And it is the space between the items. So you can increase it or decrease it. If you increase it, then the items will be much more spreaded in the scene. And if you decrease it, then they will be shrinked or compressed into the scene. So let me just show you by changing it to 20 by 20, and then you have to supply the pattern overlay. And whenever you change the properties of this behavior, then you have to supply the pattern overlay again, because there is a bug in the Coppercube editor that it removes the overlay from the property. So I have to select the 2D overlay one again, and I'm gonna come to this 2D overlay part because it is the main part of the behavior. If I test the application now, you'll notice that the wazahat pattern is much more compressed, and you can see it much more clearly that it is wazahat. And the 2D overlay part, now the pattern overlay, and it contains the text which is actually a pattern. So if I go to the 2D overlay and to its attributes, then you will notice that first we have this text here, which is like white space and someone. Not someone, it is actually the number one, numericals. So we have one and white space, and it defines the one defines the items actually, and white space defines nothing, the space between the items. So we have this much space here, then we have this much space here. And if you look carefully, it looks like that it is V, then it is A, then it is Z, then it is A, and then it is H, A, and T. It is a pattern here, which we use to arrange the pickup items in our game. And you have to make sure that your alignment is multi-line for the overlay. And why I am using the overlay here instead of the string parameter for the behavior, and that's because the string parameter of the behavior doesn't allow us to use multi-line feature, and it is very hard to edit the text box. So yeah, that's it. And then we have without zero. This is because either you can use 0 and 1 format, or either you can use white space and the 1 format. And right now I am using white space and 1. So I am checking this without 0 option here. But you can also generate the pattern manually by unchecking this without 0 option here and selecting the 2D overlay, and then go to 2D overlay, go to attributes, go to text, and simply remove it as 0, which is going to be the blank space between the items, and 1, it is going to be the item. So 0 0 1 0 0 1 0, wait, 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 0 1, and let's just test it. If I press Ctrl F10, you can see it's 0 0 1 0 0 1. And now let's just create some another beautiful pattern like in the heart shape or the start shape, and very quickly, very easily. So let me just open Paint to create an image. So as you can see, I have this 184 by 62 pixels white rectangle here. We are going to use this tool that I have shown you in the beginning, 𝙎𝙪𝙙𝙘 to generate text from the image. What this tool will do is it will create one for the black part in your image, and it will create empty white spaces for the white part in your image. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a star, and then we have then star, then maybe an arrow, this, and then we are going to save it on my desktop. Close it and then open image and title.png, what we have created. Then see, it generated the ASCII text art in the one and white space. Let me just copy it and go to our pattern overlay, which is 2D overlay 1, and then swap it with the text. You will notice that it doesn't look like it is actually some stars or hearts in the text visually, but it will generate the pattern perfectly. So you don't have to worry if it doesn't look great in the text format, generate perfectly in the game. So let me just press Ctrl F10 that we can see how it generates. Looks really bad because 32 here. So let me just change the vertical spacing to 32 and 32. Also change the pattern to overlay 1 and make sure that you have without zero checked, otherwise it will look something else. And then I have to provide the pattern overlay again because it gets removed whenever you change the property. And that's really annoying bug of Coppercube. Now let's just test the application. It looks like that we have a star here. Very down from the actual game. So what we can do is we can simply change the position of our item scene node and change the position of our pattern as well. So our pattern is based on the position of our. So there is one star, there is a heart, then the start and an arrow down there. And let me just quickly change it to 20 by 20. At the pattern again, so that it will be much more compressed, much better. We have a star here. We have a heart star. Yeah, that's how you can generate 2D patterns for your items very quickly with just an image and some text. And you're not limited to the 2D pickup items only. You can create many level designing stuff and all those stuff, the same behavior. And if you want to, you can, edit the source code and can use a different item for the zero or different item for the blank space or the white space, and can create variations for the level designing or the pattern arrangement. This is just a basic behavior that shows you how to generate patterns for your pickup items or level designing, something else. Yeah, that's pretty much about. I think so. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.